Sounds got weird too. In a silent room, the group used a simple tape recorder. They heard voices speaking multiple languages, some modern, some ancient, some unknown on Earth. Language experts studied the recordings. The voices talked about everything from philosophy to quantum physics. But one message kept coming back. We're not alone, and death isn't the end.
This is an apport which arrived during the earliest days of our skull experiment. In fact, it's a very small object, and whilst we were sitting here, this object would arrive, just materialise, and arrive on the table. As it arrived, that's the sort of noise it would make.
Objects appeared and began moving on their own. Instruments floated in the air playing music. Heavy tables lifted off the ground. The group put glowing panels around the room to track the movements better. Everything was logged, every detail. One session stood out. A piece of film was sealed inside a locked box. An image appeared on it anyway. A page from a newspaper that wasn't printed yet. 3 days later, the paper came out. The page matched. Exactly. The spirits weren't just talking from beyond the grave, they were talking from beyond time. Robin Foy and his team weren't stupid. They knew about fake mediums, the long history of fraud. They operated under strict rules. They worked to eliminate any chance of cheating. Before every session, the room and the people were searched. Not only did the strange events continue, they got even stranger. After 2 years of private sessions, the Skull Group was ready for outside witnesses. They invited members of the Society for Psychical Research, Britain's oldest, most respected paranormal group. These weren't easy believers. The SPR is made of scientists, professors, and professional skeptics. They came expecting to find fraud. Instead, they found proof. Word about the Skull Group was spreading. Strange lights, levitating objects, photos from sealed film. Their claims were getting attention. But not everyone was convinced. The Society for Psychical Research, or SPR, decided to investigate. The SPR takes paranormal claims seriously. They've done it since 1882. Members include Nobel Prize winners, Cambridge professors, professional skeptics. These are serious people. 3 of their best took the skull case. Professor Arthur Ellison, an electrical engineer, Montague Keene, a career skeptic and media expert, and Professor David Fontana, a psychologist who spent years detecting fraud. The SPR didn't trust the Skull Group. They brought their own gear and enforced strict rules, sealed the doors with tamper-proof tape, brought their own unopened film packs. The SPR searched everything: the room, the furniture, the people. The investigators confirmed the skull basement had no hidden spots, no secret doors, nowhere to hide helpers or equipment. Once the scientists were satisfied that this was a controlled environment, it was time to begin. 40 minutes. Nothing. The investigators were not surprised. They thought, how convenient that once there were actual scientists in the room, the so-called spirit activity stopped. And just as the SPR was ready to claim fraud, the room got extremely cold. The familiar lights appeared. This time they responded not to the mediums in the Skull Group. The lights were reacting to the thoughts from the investigators. SPR member Montague Keene thought in German, make a triangle. The lights did. Ellison thought, make a zigzag. The lights did. All this happened without anyone saying a word. The skeptics couldn't explain this. Another session. A crystal appeared on the table. Professor Ellison held it. It was solid and cold to the touch. He asked the Skull Group if he could take it and have it investigated. They agreed. But after Ellison left the basement, the crystal was gone. But in his pocket was a small brass plate, engraved with his name, Arthur Ellison. This was shocking because Professor Ellison never mentioned his first name. The sealed film tests were also very convincing. The scientists brought their own film. They marked the packs with invisible UV ink. The film didn't leave their possession. The images still appeared. Faces, landscapes, ancient writing, 20 sessions, stricter rules each time. The scientists had a choice: admit something real was happening, or accuse the Skull 4 of the best hoax in history. The investigators found no fraud, no hidden projectors, no helpers, no tricks could explain objects appearing from nowhere. Then, the team of many minds began speaking directly to the scientists. Direct voice, they called it. Voices from nowhere filled the room. They called the investigators by name, talked about their private research, answered hard questions about quantum physics, about human consciousness.